Let's cross over to where Makori Ongechi is, because you understand that the Ministry of Education is launching skills to show how to showcase the various training opportunities available to KCSE candidates who do not qualify to join universities. Makori Ongechi is somewhere. Where are you, and what are these opportunities that exist for people who do not make it to universities and, of course, the other colleges that you may want to talk about?
Good morning, Sam. I'm at the Kenya International Conference Center this morning where, like you have said, that particular exhibition by the Ministry of Education that actually is targeting over 500,000 students who did not qualify to join public universities is being launched today, and a number of issues expected to come. Remember, Sam, this is something that is happening at that time when Kenyan universities only managed to take 90,000 students out of those who sat the examinations, the KCSE examinations last year. I wouldn't want to exhaust much, but I want to speak to the Principal Secretary in charge of the Technical Vocational Educational Training Centers to tell me exactly what this function is about and what is their target as a ministry as the day progresses. One by one, Sam, I'll want to speak to the State Department for Vocational and Technical Training, Principal Secretary Kevit Desai. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Let me begin by asking you today, what exactly is happening here today?
Well, this is a skills show which has invited the entire nation today. We have primary school students, we have high school students, we have industry, we have civil society, the productive sector. My State Department is here in its full capacity. And the whole objective is to see how we're able to share what the latest skills are. Uniquely positioned within these tents are actual industrial organizations ready to showcase on an interactive basis the potential and excitement of skills. And so we have mechatronics displays, we have displays on hairdressing, we have displays on cooking. We have all the skills that are part of the fabric of our life being displayed here, primarily to mentor young children from the onset that this is really a viable option and indeed one of the most exciting options, but most importantly to raise the profile of this very important vocation of technical vocational training and its importance connected towards our social economic development.
Recently, Bana PS, we have seen the Ministry of Education pull and push harder to see more students join TVETs, and we have seen most of the students probably at some times not embracing so much mid-level colleges, especially when they miss opportunities to join universities. What is the relevance of today's exhibition here?
Well, just imagine a world without standards for a moment. Imagine you not being able to repair your car brakes within a specific manufacturer's standard. Or imagine your trousers not being of equal length. Imagine cooking not being of standard. Imagine roads without standards. It wouldn't be possible to actually run economies. It wouldn't be possible for us to gear up to our obligations, both socially, economically and environmentally. The world runs around standards, our competitiveness, our ability to achieve Agenda 4 in terms of the manufacturing sector, the healthcare sector and so on. So what standards are absolutely crucial, and technical vocational training helps realize those standards. It's standards that are then promote the influence in terms of the quality and relevance and access and equity of education. And TVET is all about standards. It's about raising those standards, and that's precisely why, TVET is so important. It's important because of its contribution to economic development.
Maybe again, if you could share the number of TVET institutions we have in the country and how they are placed, maybe distributed across the country for those students who have done their Form 4 exams and probably want to inquire where exactly those institutions are.
We have 11 polytechnics, 11 science technology institutes, 4 special needs institutes. We have 130 operational technical vocational centers, but we hope to create a lot more into the near future. And we have approximately 800 VTCs, vocational centers, which are primarily managed under the devolved government, but our responsibility as far as quality assurance and further development support.
Well, in universities, sometimes, okay, we normally see the government sponsoring students in terms of giving help to actually facilitate their studies throughout the 4 years they do their degrees. Maybe what packages are provided for when we come to TVETs to just let Kenyans know that yes, as even they proceed to these technical vocational training institutions, they are getting some sponsorship from the government.
Throughout life, TVET is part of life, because whether you're within the value chain of academics, from primary to university and post, TVET skills are absolutely compulsory in life, especially if you want to have a very fulfilling engagement in life, primarily because skills are needed everywhere and they complement any kind of academic education. And therefore the TVET system is increasingly being inclusive to all levels of participation. Primarily because what is required is continuous professional development, training for life, and therefore skills for life, and therefore your ability to access any of these institutions throughout their life.
Does the government, for instance, give like some amount of money for students joining these TVETs to sponsor, like help? For instance, we see the government gives like 35,000, 40,000 to those joining. Is there some special
as
money?
Of the end of last year, we started providing capitation and also a dedicated HELB loan in order to meet the full affordability and also promote the value of access into TVET institutions.
Maybe finally, before I let you, Bana Piers, towards the future, where exactly do you see the TVET institutions, especially in regards to creativity and manufacturing in our country, towards the future? Where do you see TVET institutions in this country?
Well, fundamentally, we are introducing, as of January, at the beginning of this January, a new system called competency-based education training, where for the first time in this country, it's a highly inclusive process where we're able to address aspects of quality, relevance, equity, and access in education. It means that all stakeholders need to be involved. Well, civil society, the industry, the academia, and so on. And what's very important here is that if that occurs, then we will have outcomes of technology transfer, skills development, upskilling, innovation, enterprise creation. And that's the future. That's the future that we're living at present. And that's why I open this invitation to everyone that they must attend this event. They must encourage primary and secondary school students. But most importantly, they must make a decision to be involved in this highly inclusive framework.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you, PS. Well, Sam, that has been the Principal Secretary in charge of the Technical Vocational Training Institutions in the country, Kevin Desai, trying to tell us what this function is about, coming at a time when many students in the country have not gotten that opportunity to join universities in the country, and how the government wants to put more efforts into developing skills. Remember, these are issues even regarding to the new curriculum. We have seen the government go into the competency-based curriculum, trying to nurture talents right from the beginning of primary education. Therefore, we will be following and of course getting to know what those students coming here, learners right from primary school, secondary schools into colleges and middle-level colleges, TVET institutions, to see what skills they acquire at the end of the day, even as the government promises a luminous future in terms of those students proceeding to technical vocational training institutions. Some